Hello again. Now continuing with SIS4. What is the SIS4? What is the process name? SIS4 is System Integration and Integration Test Procedure. What test process? What is the purpose? What is the purpose of System Integration and Integration Test Process? The heading itself is very self-explanatory, but we'll further elaborate. The definition is the purpose of system integration and integration test process is to integrate the system items to produce an integrated system consistent with system architectural design and to ensure that the system items are tested to provide evidence for compliance of the integrated system items with the system architectural design including the interface within the system. So when you say the system integration, it is not just the uh, integrated system that needs to comply. It is also the interfaces that needs to comply with the that needs to fulfill the compliance. It is both the interfaces and also the system items which need to fulfill the compliance. So let's see the base practices. First base practice SIS4 is develop system integration strategy. Develop a strategy for integrating system items consistent with project plan and release plan. So integrate the system items also which is consistent with or which is aligned with project plan and release plan. Identify system items based on system architectural design and define a sequence for integrating them. Now, what is meant by base practice 2? System integration test strategy, including regression test. So you need to have a clear cut test strategy so that once you complete the test, you must have a foolproof confidence on the system that it can be implemented or it will serve the purpose for which the system is built. Okay, so whatever system you are building, whether it is a ECU or a battery, so that must be capable of passing the test, passing the integration test. Now, what is meant by base practice 3? Develop specification for system integration test. After developing the strategy, you must have a clear cut specification, the temperatures or the RPMs or the cooling flow rates or the heat conductions. All the specification rates must be clearly outlined. They must be clearly be judged. Develop the test specification for system integration test, including the test cases for each integration step of a system item according to system integration test strategy. The test specification shall be suitable to provide evidence for compliance of the integrated system items with the system architectural design. The interface descriptions between system elements are an input for the system integration test cases. These things I'll just read through. They are not exactly very important. I'll just read through. Compliance to architectural design means the specified integration tests are suitable to prove that interfaces between the system items fulfill the specification given by the system architectural design. Now, this is something which I already touched upon. It is not just the various systems that need to fulfill the compliance. It is also the interfaces that need to fulfill the compliance and that need to pass the compliance. What is base practice 4? Integrate the system items. Integrate the system items to a system according to system integration strategy. So what are this is where actually you execute the integration. First you prepare the strategy, you prepare the specifications. Now here you actually integrate the system items. The system integration can be performed stepwise integrating system items. Example, the hardware elements as prototype hardware, peripherals, sensors, actuations, all these things. For example, when I talk again going back to ADAS system, what is ADAS system? It comprises of the sensors, it comprises of the ECU, it comprises of the sensor fusion, it comprises of the wiring harness, it comprises of the communication protocol. All these systems have to be integrated, and the mechanics of the integrated and the mechanics and the integrated software to produce a system consistent with system architectural design. Okay, so this is called base practice 4. Now, what is meant by base practice 5? So, what is this base practice 5? Select the test cases. Select the test cases from system integration test specification, and these cases should encompass all the system integration test strategy and release plan. Okay, these test cases are nothing but use cases or the various methodologies through which you test the system, and testing the system should testing the system should have a sufficient coverage. It should encompass all the various systems. Perform the system integration test. Now here is actually you first you integrate in base practice 4, then you identify the cases, and in the base practice 6 you actually do the integration test. And base practice 7, well, by this time you must have guessed what is meant by base practice 7. It is establish bidirectional traceability. Establish the bidirectional traceability between the elements of the system, architectural designs, test cases included in the system integration test specification. And ensure consistency. Again, you have to ensure the consistency. Ensuring the consistency is, again, as I said, very important. Establishing the bidirectional traceability is also important. I already emphasized sufficient number of times the importance of bidirectional traceability. And last base practice is, of course, communicate the results. Summarize and communicate the results. Summarize the system integration test results and communicate them to all affected parties. So who are all the stakeholders, whether the internal stakeholders or external stakeholders? The system integrated testing results must be communicated. So what are the process outcomes? As a result of successful implementation of this process, a system integration strategy consistent with project plan, the release plan, the system architectural plan is developed and integrate the system items. This is something which I already said. Again, you understand this last process outcome is nothing more like a repetition of what we covered in the previous slide. It's more like a summary. Again, we do the system strategy, then specification of the integration strategy, and actually executing the integration, and the test cases for integration testing, and again actual executing the system as per the test case, establishing the consistency and bidirectional traceability, and of course, last the communication. These are the process outcomes. So please don't think that I am in a hurry. I am only what you call skimming through this because all these things are very similar to all the system levels. Okay, by this time you must feel that this is highly repetitive of sys 3, sys 2, and sys 1. Okay, that's why I am slightly rapidly skimming through this. Of course, output, work products, test specification, test plan, system communication record, review record, traceability record, and test result. All these work products will be communicated as per the last base practice. Okay, all these work products should be clearly outlined, they should be clearly developed, and then it communicated to the end stakeholder.